Shepherdsville, Kentucky Mayor Scott Ellis was investigated for taking advantage of and preying on female parolees in order to solicit sexual favors for political ones. Now, even though there was proof that he sent some very, very questionable text messages to one female parolee, all charges against him were dropped, and the detective that was investigating this got fired. So let me give you the details. So here are the texts that he was sending to this unidentified woman. She was facing some charges. I believe they were drug charges. And so she was a parolee, and he knew that he could take advantage of that situation. He sent her text messages that said the following: "What I meant by you need something and I need something. You needed money for your phone and I need a BJ or sex."
That could mean anything.
Ellis also wrote to her, "We haven't had any trade-offs the last 2 times." And the woman responded back to him and said, "I know, I'm sorry. How about we try to do something on your lunch break?" And they did. She performed oral sex on him. Now, according to investigators, the woman performed oral sex on Ellis in his office. In exchange, he provided money, favors, and promised to have her pardoned. By the way, there's also some evidence indicating that he is a racist mayor. Let me give you the details on that. Lieutenant Colonel Dan Patchen of the Shepherdsville Police Department said that he heard Ellis talk about black people and referred to them as the N-word. Okay. In one instance, Patchen recalled Ellis saying that every N-word born should be injected with sickle cell so they don't or can't reproduce.
Well, technically he said cycle cell. Maybe that's medicine. I don't know. Maybe he's looking out for every black. That's his commitment to African Americans. I don't know.
Cycle cell.
Yeah. So the whole thing with the trading the political favors. I mean, once you get into the money, then that's prostitution.
Right.
And we very carefully delineate directly giving money for sex from all of the socially acceptable ways that we indirectly provide monetary benefits for sex in a society and call it relationships. But once you give the money, it's prostitution. I totally get that. But we talked recently about an attempted ban in a state legislature to stop lobbyists from having sex with legislators. Because the idea is that then it would coerce them or possibly get them to do something they wouldn't otherwise do. I love the idea that millions of dollars doesn't do that, but a hand job possibly could. And so that they didn't actually end up banning it, and they're still allowed to do that. And so if they're allowed to do that, shouldn't he be allowed to say he's going to help her out in exchange for sex? I mean, look, I don't want them to be able to do that, but it seems like as a country we have ruled that it's okay.
So no, because there is an imbalance of power. And so
yes.
He is in this position of power. She is in a desperate situation. She's a parolee who's facing drug charges.
Yes.
And so he's preying on her. He's taking advantage of his power. Look, both instances are disastrous. And
lobbyist, legislator.
I don't want lobbyists to have sex with politicians in order to get what they
want.
want.
Life isn't House of Cards.
But that's something that would be really, really difficult to enforce, and then you're getting into the private, personal, sexual lives of lobbyists. It could be possible that a lobbyist fell in love with a politician. What are you going to do? Get in there and tell them you can't have a sexual relationship? But I still know that it influences our political system, which is why I'm still against it.
Yeah.
However, this case with this mayor is particularly egregious because of that imbalance of power and because he's going out of his way to prey on people that are desperate.
Yeah.
And so the second component of this story is the fact that a detective by the name of Lynn Hunt starts investigating this, and surprisingly, the charges against the mayor get dropped, and then she gets fired. And so now she's going to file a wrongful termination complaint against those who fired her. But basically what they're saying is that she did something illegal, but they're not being clear about what she did that's illegal.
Investigate the mayor, I guess.
I guess investigate
when you said
the mayor.
Surprising, you of course mean not at all surprising for local politics.
I guess. I mean, they have evidence. I mean, he's preying on these women, and there's evidence that he's also racist, and he's using the N-word left and right.
Well, he's going to be able to get away with the racism largely. But yeah, I mean, he makes clear that there's trade-offs. He says sex or BJ. Maybe if you just use acronyms, you could get around. Some people don't know what they stand for, I guess. It seems like that would be an open and shut case, but he is politically connected. They didn't think it would blow up nationally, and so they tried to hush it up. He probably has connections with the police department. Not all of them, if some of them are willing to go to the press and say that he has a history of throwing the N-word around. But we know that they do tend to protect each other. And if he's willing to give political favors in exchange for sex, there's probably other forms of corruption, like with people who can get a detective fired.
So disgusting.
Yeah.
And by the way,
That's America.
You have the nerve to speak badly or poorly about the black community when behind the scenes you are using your power to prey on people in desperate situations.
He probably thinks he is awesome in that regard.
He probably thinks he's great, yeah. And honestly, he's a pig. He looks like a pig. He acts like a pig. He must be a pig.
Jesus.